I know that many of us are dealing with codependency in our life. We have a tendency of being codependent in our relationships and mostly a lot of the things we do. And sometimes it's hard to really analyze, is this codependence or is this just caring? And in today's video, I want to talk about some of the thoughts you may be having in your mind right now that could actually show you that you have those codependent tendencies that we can overcome and make changes to and eventually be more successful in our life. Let's deep dive into some of those codependent thoughts now. One thought that we might have when we have codependency in our life is we're wondering what we're going to do next in our life. What are we going to achieve? What are we going to do? And there's a lot of questions and concerns. And a lot of times there's questions about how will somebody respond if we make that choice? Or if we take that job opportunity, how will the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the spouse respond? And so there's a lot of guilt and shame and fear about what we need to be doing, but we seem to be putting ourselves last. And so that's a really big thought that comes into the mind of a codependent, because it's not about what I want to do. It's more about how is everybody going to respond if I choose this direction in my life. Another thought you may be having is, what about me? What about my dreams? What about my pursuits? What about my desires? And in that same thought, you're probably already feeling guilty about even thinking about it. I can't believe I'm thinking this. But you start wondering, and I think that when we become more codependent in nature, we have a tendency of what? Putting others first, but we also have a tendency of not doing necessarily what we want because we feel guilty about doing what we want. And also sometimes though we can feel even neglected because it seems that we're doing all these things for other people. And not that we're keeping a score, but it doesn't seem like they're doing the same amount back. And so you start feeling a bit disgruntled and a bit resentful for not following your dreams or even thinking clearly what you actually want to do in your life. Another thought you may be having is that in your main relationship, your marriage, or with your significant other, you may feel unheard. You may feel unheard by them. Like they don't see you. They might not understand you. And you try to understand them and you try to be there for them emotionally, but it seems like they're kind of really not there for you. And you might make light of it, or you might make reasons for it. Well, they were having a bad day, or they're tired, or whatever it is. And so you make excuses for it. But it's interesting because I find that a lot of folks that are dealing with codependency have to find outsources of people to communicate with, or other people to share their ideas with, instead of really having that straight conversation with their spouse or significant other that they don't feel like they're heard. And sometimes that's hard because for the codependent, it can be scary. You know, you can be scared about what the response is going to be. You might even feel guilty about bringing up the things that you need or even talking about being heard. You might feel like that sounds really weird or kind of narcissistic. And so that's something that you're probably thinking about as well. Some thoughts you might be having are some of the things you actually want in your life. Maybe you want to go back and get another degree. Maybe you want to take this other job. Maybe you want to move to this place. Maybe you want to do this, do that, whatever it is. And you think about it and it brings you joy to think about it. But in that moment of joy, all of a sudden there's that moment of guilt or that moment of fear or how everybody else is going to respond. Or do I deserve this? And that's interesting too, because I find that a lot of codependents have that tendency of not doing what they want in life out of fear of hurting other people's feelings, out of fear of the other person not wanting them to do that, or even feeling as though they're very narcissistic or self-centered in doing things that maybe not everybody agrees to. And so that's another thought to think about too. If you're putting your thoughts as far as what you want to do, your career direction, the things that you really want to create and achieve in this life, and you're putting it on the back burner, you might want to really analyze why you're doing that and what's so bad about you living some of the dreams or some of the things that you want to do in your life. Do you feel overwhelmed as if you're juggling a lot of people's emotions, almost as if it's a responsibility that you have? Everybody else and everything else has been stacked up above it. And so your needs and your thoughts and your desires are so low down here on the list that you rarely get to it, and you rarely even would think about what it would feel to actually be successful in achieving that or choosing that. But then also just overcoming that guilt. You know, it's so hard for the codependent to get past that. It's like a vapor, like a white smoke, like type thing of guilt. It's like every time you start thinking about something you want to do or something that's important to you, it's like you hit that wall of guilt immediately. And so I think trying to walk through that and see, what would it feel like to actually do something I want to do? What would it feel like to actually put my feelings first for once and really think about, if I did this, how would that change my life, or how would that impact or make me more successful or a happier, healthier person? And these are the things that we need to start thinking about. But if you've thought of any of these things prior, there's a big tendency that you're dealing with those codependent tendencies. And it doesn't make us a bad person at all. It makes us, codependency is not a horrible thing. It's just something that takes us off target from really doing the things that we need to do in our life. And so we can recover. We can slow down those codependent tendencies. We can begin to see those tendencies better. And in upcoming videos, I'm going to be talking about how you can make changes, like refocusing your energy, creating a thoughtful roadmap for when you get off target and you get all, engrossed in other people's emotions, how to pull yourself back. I'm also going to be doing a video as well that'll be here in the series on how to really know, are you relaxing or are you actually escaping? And these are things that we really need to understand when it comes to codependency, because we have a tendency of juggling so much and juggling so many other people's feelings, we usually put ours on the back burner, and we don't take care of them, and we don't actually go deep within those feelings to understand where they're coming from and to make changes to not only make ourselves feel better, but to also increase our self-esteem, which is going to go a long way to not only our emotional success, our mental success, but our physical success. Thank you for watching the entire video. We'll also be posting more content on codependency and how to overcome codependency. And in the comment section, let me know, are there some angles of codependency that you would like me to look at? Is there some tendencies that you may have? Or do you have some successful ways of overcoming some of those codependent tendencies? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content, if the content resonates with you. And don't forget to live your true life.